Hello everyone out there in Gorilla Land. Today, and to prove that there is life outside of Sydenham, we are at Barnt Green Cricket Club. And we're here to talk to a legend of the game, a man who spent over 25 years at Warwickshire, winning everything there is to win. He also played for England and Scotland, and he also inadvertently once bought me a wedding present. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this exclusive interview with Dougie Brown. Dougie, thanks for joining us, thanks for having us.
Welcome to Barnt Green.
Thank you very much, it's lovely to be here. Now, I just wanted to start by talking about your early sporting career, particularly. You were quite the all-rounder as a kid, played rugby to a good standard, under-18s football for Scotland. So what?
I was a goalkeeper, so let's qualify it, right? And Scottish goalkeepers, they don't get the best rap in the world. So.
You or Alan Rough, was it?
He was slightly better than me, so that'll tell you exactly how good I was. Okay,
which leads us on to my next question then, which is what made you choose a career in cricket after all?
Okay, so basically at school I played football and golf. So every summer game, winter game, I played football and golf. All my mates played rugby and cricket. And I loved doing what I was doing, but kind of felt I was missing out on the camaraderie you get with your mates, you know, during the summer months particularly. But the under-13s were a man short once, and they asked me, they knocked on my door, said, "Can you come and play?" I was like, "Yeah, fine, no problems at all." And I was playing football for a pretty successful team, and actually we were playing football we're still playing the previous season in August, finals and stuff, and I was like, nah, I've had an absolute fill of this.
That's a long season.
It was, you know, played in something like 20 finals or something like that, so it was stupid. And I was like, nah, I'm not prepared to do that anymore. So I went and played cricket, and I loved it. You know, cricket in Scotland, you can argue, you know, at that stage how good it was, but actually there was a lot of cricket, and it was just great fun playing with your mates. And then you got involved in sort of men's cricket at the weekend and stuff, because there was never enough bods to go around, so you ended up playing and getting more opportunity than maybe people would have done elsewhere with more players. So I just loved it, and from there on in it was just a case of trying to improve, and hopefully I did that to buy myself a bit more opportunity. Yeah.
So how much did you play prior to that under-13 call-up that you
Well, I had never played. Never, ever played anything. Ever. And when I started playing, so I was 13, and then we started. So cricket at school in a Central Scotland comprehensive school, it basically amounted to a hockey ball in a gymnasium, 2 cricket bats, no pads, no protections, 2 sets of stumps, and glass windows all the way around, and you know, keep the ball on the ground. But it was really, how many people could you hurt, and how many windows could you break? And that was how I learned my cricket.
Fantastic. Who were your sporting heroes growing up?
Sporting heroes would be sort of probably Kenny Dalglish. I thought he was a bit of a legend, King Kenny. And from a cricket perspective, it was kind of everyone. At the time, it was obviously your normal, you know, world-class all-rounders. Richard Hadley, Ian Botham, in particular, I thought these guys were amazing. Great to watch, as I'm sure many people agree. But you know, growing up in Central Scotland, that is so far removed from where you're at right now. It was just a bit of a pipe dream to even follow these sort of guys, really. But yeah, these were the 2 guys plus King Kenny.
Yeah, bowling all-rounders then.
Pretty much.
Sort of led you to where you got to eventually, possibly.
A little bit. I mean, I think I sort of fitted in. Bowling was a bit easier for me than batting. Batting's a bit more technical, and bowling was something you did. You just ran in and bowled, and then you bowled some more and bowled some more, and over the course of, you know, year on year, you sort of moved your run up back, you know, maybe 2 or 3 steps further, and you know, you end up with this ridiculously long run up because, you know, you're just kicking it back every year. But bowling, I always found really good fun. I enjoyed the sort of physicality of it, and batting, I was pretty bloody awful, if I'm totally honest, early in the piece. I could hit the ball quite hard, but you know, the nuances of batting were just not there, simply because realistically you hadn't been coached to know what they were. And it wasn't until I actually got to Warwickshire that I actually managed to sort of sort out my batting and realise that, you know, picking length and leaving the ball were actually part of the game.
Yeah, okay. Peter Crouch, when he was asked what he would be if he hadn't been a footballer, famously said, a virgin. So what would you have been if you hadn't been a cricketer?
Well, I don't think that being a cricketer actually gives you as many opportunities as maybe what footballers would be to
in that area.
In that area, I think I think probably I would have done something. I'm a qualified teacher, so I would have gone into that sort of type of work. I probably would have been a bit more wealthy than what I am now. You know, cricket at the time and all the way through my career never really was a job that was you're going to retire and you know, live your life on a Barbados beach. That it's still not that way at the moment, unless you're playing, you know, a full career of international cricket. But I guess probably teaching would be something that I would have done.
Okay, fair enough. So your playing career then, you famously spent 20 odd years at the Bears. We have our very own bear behind the camera here as well.
He looks like a bear.
Hofmeister bear, apparently, yeah. So what first made you want to join Warwickshire?
Okay, so I started playing cricket quite late in the piece, and I played for a club called Clackmannan County, which is a beautiful ground in Alloa, and we played all over Scotland against the other counties. But it'd be 2.5 hours north one week, 2.5 hours south the next week. Wow. But great fun. But it took a lot of commitment, and I was actually performing pretty well in Scottish terms, and I wanted to get to the next level. I never got picked for any of the age group sides. I was in all the trials, but always missed out.
Okay.
So, you know, the A's against the B's, and I was always in the B's and never got picked, which was unfortunate. But by the time I was sort of 18, I'd gone down to university down in London, trying to play cricket at a higher standard, but I was still travelling back up on the bus every Friday, basically, overnight, and go straight to a game on the Saturday.
Bloody hell.
And then play on the Sunday as well, and then bus it back down again. So 10.5 hours back to London, and drag your cricket kit across London on the tube and straight to lecture.
The old coffin.
It was a coffin as well. I didn't even have wheels.
For a 9 o'clock lecture?
9 o'clock lecture.
Most students can't be bothered to do that when they're on campus.
I know. So that was my life. But at Clackmannan, we had a guy called David Wilson, who was he was like one of the senior sort of coach education in Scottish cricket. And he suggested that I should maybe write to a couple of counties and people that he knew of, and one was Ken Higgs at Leicester. Right. Another one was Bob Cottam at Warwickshire. Right. So I wrote to both, and Leicester kindly replied and said no, thank you, which is fine. And Warwickshire said come for a trial. So I came down for a trial, and I remember it was a roasting hot day, and there was 13 guys, and I was pretty nervous. And I went to the Colts ground at Edgbaston and ran in and bowled, you know, off this stupidly long run up that I had. Yeah. But I got invited back down again for another trial, and this time there was 3 of us. So I came down and trialled, and I got invited to come down and play a second team game against Leicestershire, funnily enough. And I played in the game, got 6 wickets, 4 in the first, 2 in the second. And from there on in, they invited me to come back down and spend the rest of the summer. This was in 1989, so I had to give up my job as a drayman, delivering beer in Alloa, and came down and spent the rest of the summer down in the Midlands, and the rest, as I say, is history.
Fantastic. So jumping forward a few years then to that famous treble-winning side of '94, that must have been a fun group to be a part of. What can you tell us about those years?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, a lot of excitement when you sign, probably at that time the best batsman in the world. He was just on the back of his 375, and you know there was a lot of furore around him coming, and it probably started pretty well. You know, we were all quite buoyant by the fact that he was arriving. I at this stage I'd only played one-day cricket for Warwickshire, so I'd still yet to play my championship debut. But he came in and got 100 on debut, and you know got another 100 the next game, and he got another 100 the next game, another 100 the next game, and by this stage people were starting to believe in A, what he was about, but B, what the team were about. I think you know Dermot was an incredibly enthusiastic captain, and that was galvanised with the partnership him and Bob Woolmer had. So Bob was somebody who wanted to test boundaries, and you know we got into the sweeping and manipulating the field and playing spin differently to how we had done it, and we probably said we started to believe in our own future, if you like, and have huge belief in the people we had around. A great mix between senior players, the likes of Gladstone Small, Tim Munton, Andy Moles, you know, complete rocks, and you know, all the way down the spine of the side, and some younger players, you know, myself, Graham Welsh, Dominic Osler, Keith Piper. So you know, it was a really good blend between youth and experience, and it just came together incredibly well. You know, Brian obviously was the one who drove it, but people like Roger Toos and stuff actually Toosey wrote on Brian's locker when he arrived. A big welcome to the second best left-hander in the world.
Oh, brilliant.
From the perceived best one. But, you know, he had a brilliant summer, and Dominic also played really well. And, you know, it was just we're turning up to games knowing that somebody was going to win the game for us. You know, you all had a responsibility to try and win the game and do your job, but actually somebody was going to pull something out the fire and just do something extraordinary, which seemed to be the case. You know, I was fortunate to make my debut down at Guildford against Surrey, and I batted at number 10, and Graham Welsh batted at number 8. He had just made his debut a couple of games before that, and we were 120 odd for 6, and we put on 120 for the 9th wicket, I think. And then Roger Toos, of all people, got 6 for 20 second innings. You know, somebody you wouldn't expect to do that, to get us back into the game. And Andy Mowes goes and gets a double 100 in the second innings, and Neil Smith comes and Tim Bunton and bowls him out in the last day, and it leapfrogs us over them to the top of the championship. And at this stage now, we really believe in our own destiny. And one day cricket was going exceptionally well as well. And the younger players were getting given very free roles in the one day game. So it was like, go out and express yourself without people having to go and perform. So expectation on us was actually quite low, and it made it quite easy.
You spoke before about that axis of Dermot Reeve and Bob Woolmer and doing things differently. And were you aware as a group that you were kind of moving the game on? Or was it just about doing what you knew was right for the team? Yeah,
I guess we were, but I don't think we thought we were revolutionaries. And I think if you go back to that time, I think it was pretty obvious that we were actually quite revolutionary by the way we were thinking, the way we were playing a game. Because not everybody in world cricket was doing that. They may have done it to a degree, but not to the level that we were encouraged to do it. And the only caveat to all of that was that you can go out, you can reverse sweep first ball, particularly in a one day game, if you want to, as long as you practice your shot. So if you practice it in practice, then if you get out playing it, then go back and practice harder until you don't get it wrong. And that was, you know, I remember Neil Smith getting absolutely bollocked by Bob when he came off. We played Hampshire, and he reverse swept Sean Udall for 4, and he got a bollocking when he came off because it's a shot he'd never practiced. But he played it and pulled it off. But that wasn't how we were playing a cricket. So we created a really strong identity as to how we wanted to play a cricket, and everybody bought in.